instruction with dressing room. I want to away my commander all the time. Be careful with the head and the low blow. Check your hand and good luck for both.
The final instructions from referee Juan Arias, who is working this 10-round cruiserweight fight. And Dwight Qawi says nothing fancy about his style tonight, as has been the case in his career. He will take it to the bigger Salerno. Salerno, who is known as a boxer in his 14-year professional career. And he will just press the fight and try to get inside of James Salerno. Qawi's aware of it. Salerno's aware of it.
It's no big secret. Salerno knows what he has to do. Box, move, use that jab. He cannot get lazy, stand flat-footed, and allow for Dwight Qawi to knock him out or steal this fight.
Well, Salerno's got the fight he wanted versus Dwight Muhammad Qawi. Unfortunately, he wanted it 5 years ago. Right now, as we had mentioned, the scoring done here, a 10-point must system with 3 judges, and apparently 1 judge has now taken a powder. So we are waiting for the 3rd judge, and we are now set.
I hope he came.
Well, it is Salerno in the white trunks, and it is Qawi in the dark trunks. Qawi at the age of 38. He turned pro late in life, 25 years of age. By the time Salerno was 25, he is already a pro for 10 years. Salerno at the age of 15, and there he has Qawi all over. Sean O'Grady, you and Salerno are sharing that in common. Turning pro at the age of 15, but you got out at the age of 23 as a champion. Salerno still continues on. Why did you get out at 23?
I think it was because I got a championship and you know, decided to get out after that.
Also, but physically, though, you would at that time prefer not to go on.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't want to make a career as being just a fighter. I wanted to do other things with my life.
Well, we've seen Salerno wants to get into the rap field with his life, but in the meantime, he has not quit the night job here in the ring. First round action. Salerno, who is the master of boxing techniques. He has that long reach. He'll be flicking that jab, trying to keep his distance from Qawi.
Very smart and very wise, but look at the strength of Dwight Qawi. Salerno should not lay in there, should not lay in on him and let for Qawi to wrestle him. Low to the ground like Qawi is, he'll have the better end of that.
Qawi, after he lost to Holyfield the 2nd time in the rematch, he was taken out in 4 rounds after losing his cruiserweight championship in a 15-round decision to Holyfield back in '86. But after he was knocked out in the 4th in the rematch, next fight was against Foreman, and Qawi, who for this fight weighed in at 198, had ballooned to 230 against George Foreman. It was certainly not the same Muhammad Qawi, and he just said even at 230, Foreman was just too big for him. So after that fight, he had scored a couple of respectable victories, and it led him to a fight against Robert Daniels for the cruiserweight title, in which he lost over 12 rounds. He lost a 12-rounder to the elusive Mike the Bounty Hunter, and stayed out of boxing for about a year. Said a year for him of spirituality. Found religion, found himself, and he says he's not possessed about winning the title now, but like George Foreman, he says he's enjoying the ride. He's taking one day at a time and feels he may even be a better fighter for that. 38, and says he feels like 28 right now in the ring.
He's trying to get you with right hands. He's trying to get you with right hands, okay?
Should we mention it or just wait?
He's trying to overhand right hand. Okay, so it's like, this is your right hand, right?
The reach is what? He just has a bigger back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what.
He's got more.
Dwight Muhammad Qawi, who won his light heavyweight championship from Matthew Saad Muhammad 10 years ago, lost the title to Michael Spinks, and won the cruiserweight title against Piet Cruz in South Africa, the WBA title, and then lost it to Evander Holyfield.
And in that loss to Holyfield, he just said, after that, I started living a bad lifestyle. He said, out of the ring, I wasn't doing my work when I got to the gym, and it really hurt his career.
But finds a certain focus right now. And like George Foreman, has a certain drastic change in attitude in the ring.
And that's one thing that Big George did. He told, by coming back successfully, even though he didn't win the championship, he told a lot of fighters who were 38, 40 years old and just considering making a comeback, he told them, by coming back, go ahead and do it. And a lot of them have. You know, you look at Larry Holmes coming back.
But I don't know if that's such a good thing. There are a lot of fighters. I mean, most fighters think they've won every fight or should be a champion and can still do it when physically they should not be in the ring. And there may be some fighters who will get hurt because of that. That's they're chasing the illusion. Foreman turned out to be an exception.
Perhaps you should tell them, Al.
But take a look at Dwight Muhammad Qawi. He's 38. And which area do you think he fits in? You think he should still be fighting? Are you impressed by the condition that he is in?
You know, actually I am. He looks to be in good physical condition. He has taken a lot of abuse, though, because he gets hit a lot. Still, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how his comeback develops. But he takes a lot of shots. He moves in. He gets hit easily. And the way that he's able to win a lot of fights is he wears his opponent down and then brings his heavy hands out.
Well, he says he feels he's still a buzzsaw, very much reminiscent of the Joe Frazier style.
And reminiscent of him when he was a younger man.
Qawi has fought in 11 world championships. He has won 6 of those, lost 5.
And right now he's trying to work to the body of Salerno. A taller guy as James is, it's hard to reach up with a punch. You can't have a lot of power on it if you're pushing up. Go to the body. Good move from Qawi.
Salerno has lost 10 fights, has only been stopped once by J.B. Williamson. So that will be a task for Qawi against the boxer Salerno. Back in Miami, Al Albert along with the champ, Sean O'Grady, 3rd round action. Cruiserweights, Dwight Qawi in the black trunks and James Salerno in the white. In the corner of Salerno for this fight, former heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson.
The overhand, everything, you know what I mean? The hook to the belly, uppercuts, overhand rights, everything he's open for. But the only dangerous thing he has is a good right hand. Watch his right hand, that's all. All right? Take the best man out easy. And keep your jab out.
Floyd is giving him a lot of things to do, but he wants Salerno to get busy. Salerno's waiting for Qawi to punch and then try to retaliate. Start off first. I was with Floyd Patterson over this past weekend at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, where he was inducted along with 7 other world champions and former world champions. Some wonderful people up there in beautiful Canastota, New York. A great time.
Salerno originally was handled by Angelo Dundee, and now over the course of the last year or so under the tutelage of Floyd Patterson. A matter of fact, Salerno, who lived most of his life in the Florida area, has moved up to New Paltz with Patterson. Certainly an odd couple. Salerno, who talks at a 78 RPM rate, could chew your ear off. Floyd quiet, laid back, and certainly tribute to opposites attracting.
Well, James Salerno has been up there working with Patterson, also with Kevin Rooney, who's up there, and he eats a good left hook from Qawi.
And Qawi now stalking Salerno.
James says that he's been working out in a small ring, and these men tonight are fighting in a small ring. So he says that will help him. If you can move in a small ring like there is in many of the gyms, you can move in a ring of this size. There's a look.
Salerno not known for his punching power, so Patterson has been trying to unlock the door on the right hand of Salerno. He wants Salerno to start it back a little further, bring it back to the ear. He had been holding that right hand in front of him and then going from there. So he's trying to give Salerno more of an offensive weapon. Salerno only 29 years of age, but you question how close to burnout is he, having turned pro at the age of 15. He has fought 52 times in his professional career.
And he is an old 29 for a boxing man.
Talked about Sean, who retired at the age of 23. Also, Wilfred Benitez, who turned pro very early, around 15, was washed up at 23 years of age.
Normally, a boxer will have a life of about 10 years. 3 years going up, 3 years on top, and 4 years down.
Big finish for Qawi here in the third.
Okay, you move away from the right hand. His only punch is the right hand. Try to keep your mind on his right hand. Okay? Yeah.
Long and lean James Salerno against the powerfully built Dwight Qawi. Fourth round action. It is scheduled for 10. Two fighters who feel that they still have a shot at winning a cruiserweight title. This is where the crossroads is for these two veterans. Qawi, after sitting out for a year, has come back to win his last two fights. In the corner of Salerno, you see Floyd Patterson on the left and his former trainer, Angelo Dundee, who happens to be here working some other corners for other fighters. And he still has a soft spot in the heart for James Salerno, so he's backing up Floyd Patterson if needed as a cut man, would come to the aid of his former fighter.
Well, I'm fearful that Qawi has found a soft spot in the body of James Salerno, because he is landing down there. It's slowing Salerno down too. Those body shots add up in a long fight. You know, we were talking about the age of these two fighters. In the ring right now, it looks like Qawi is younger than James Salerno. And attitude has a lot to do with a fighter. A lot of older fighters have learned about that through George Foreman.
So Angelo Dundee looks on and perhaps reflecting, Sean, at what a young James Salerno had once presented him, and a talent that really never fulfilled.
It's a talent that really has been wasted, unfortunately. He's plagued by mental problems and thinking that he is better than he actually was at the time of his career, I think really hurt him mentally. And you say in boxing that you beat your opponent mentally and then you beat him physically. And right now, beating physically down below the waist is Qawi. And Salerno is complaining about it. Now, underneath their trunks, these men are wearing foul-proof protectors. However, when those things get old and worn, they can slip to the side.
Salerno won his first 23 fights. Then lost a couple of fights to Leon McDonald in Florida. Spent a couple of years in the Marines, came back, reeled off 8 straight wins, 7 by knockout, was ranked number 5 by the WBA, but he couldn't get a fight with the champion Michael Spinks. As a matter of fact, he took out ads in a Philadelphia paper. He rented a plane and dropped leaflets on Spinks's house, trying to coerce him into a fight. He also wanted to try to get a fight with Qawi. Right now, Salerno is in deep trouble.
And wisely, he moves off the ropes. He's got to get that left jab to working. Qawi is just walking right through him. The referee will stop this fight.
And now Salerno all over Qawi. Again, a low blow by Dwight Qawi. Salerno fighting back. And he is all serious now, staying on top of Qawi. Good finish to round number 4. And Dwight Muhammad Qawi is pleased with things to this point.
Come on now.
Take a deep breath, son.
Who they playing with?
Let's go into the corner and to find out a little more about Dwight Qawi's favorites outside of the
Don't
ring.
let him get nothing. He can't get nothing.
Favorite
unless
movie,
he earns it. He
comedies.
can't take it from you.
Were you in that movie?
You can
Both
stop
of us.
too, please.
Comedies?
We'll keep him up now. We'll keep him up.
Well, this
Stop
is
the light.
anything but funny for James Salerno. Here's it from Floyd Patterson. The first commandment for Salerno is thou shalt not be hit, and especially hit below the belt.
And here it is when he was hit below the belt. Dwight Qawi winding up with the left hook, and it was definitely low. Below the belt. Now, Qawi is short, much shorter than Salerno anyway, so his punches, he's going to have to consciously bring them up a little bit.
Scheduled for 10.
He could just about jab up and still be low.
And Qawi certainly has woken up James Salerno. Qawi looks to be having fun out there at the expense of Salerno.
And it's Qawi pressing the fight. Salerno is not throwing any punches. He's bouncing back. You know, the first round, he looked like a young Salerno because he was using that left jab. Even though he lost it in that round, he has not found it again. There it is. That is so important. That weapon will set up your right hand.
Salerno, when he was on the threshold of a championship bout, then went into a plunge, losing 3 in a row to Mike Cedillo, J.B. Williamson, and then Leslie Stewart. That kind of controversial. Many ringside thought that Salerno had outboxed Stewart, and that happened even after that in fights against Anthony Witherspoon and Prince Charles Williams for the USBA light heavyweight championship, all going 10 rounds. And many observers feel that Salerno did enough to outpoint, but never got the decision. And after that, pretty much frustrated, he went to Europe, spent a year in Italy fighting, and has since returned and under the tutelage of Patterson. But there's just not enough in the arsenal offensively for Salerno. And he's not going to just win a championship by backpedaling and boxing and keeping his distance.
Right, and that really has been the problem with James Salerno. After his loss to Mike Cedillo, he's always put up fights, but he's just come in second place. He still tries, he still's in there bouncing like he is now, but he just can't win the rounds. His heart just seems not to be in the fight. You know, and a fighter like him, he really wants to talk about how good he is and how good he does. So you can't really tell him, hey, you got to throw your left hand more, or you got to hold that left hand up, because fighters like that don't listen.
Inside 40 seconds to go in the 5th.
For James Salerno, it's been a terrible waste of talent. The mental game of boxing has really worked against James Salerno. Qawi right now, he's loose, he's happy, he's having fun out there. He's got a terrific attitude. Attitude is so much in sports.
New focus for Qawi. Again, not possessed by winning another title, just taking one day at a time, enjoying the ride. Very much the same philosophy of George Foreman. Final seconds of the 5th. Join us ringside on Tuesday Night Fights on USA. It is round number 6 on the Sean O'Grady official scorecard. So far, a clean sweep for Dwight Qawi. So after that fifth round, here is the discussion in the Salerno corner.
Well, let me say one more thing. Every time he catches you, you come right back and catch him. Why are you waiting for him to catch you? Catch him first. You start first. Start your flow first. Don't wait for him to catch you. Then you come on. You know what I mean? And stay off of the ropes. And most importantly, stay off of the ropes. Give me with the mouthpiece. Oh, okay.
And Al, that goes back to what I was saying about Salerno not listening to his corner. You heard Floyd Patterson. The first thing he said is, "Let me say one more thing before you talk."
And amazing, Salerno even talking with a mouthpiece in.
Well,
Floyd figured that he was talking moments ago. He probably doesn't have the mouthpiece in. Well, one thing, Salerno wasn't rapping in the corner, but he's talking wherever he goes.
Well, Dwight Qawi says perhaps Salerno is going to learn a rap song about a loser.
Well, he's been taking the rap so far in the first half of this fight. Dwight Muhammad Qawi, who has had a roller coaster career involving a couple of highs, winning championships, light heavyweight division of the world, cruiserweight division, also having lows. He says his personal life has mirrored the success and the failure he has had in the ring, but right now he says he is on an even keel, spiritually born again, and right now trying to plow through James Salerno for his third straight victory on this comeback trail.
Well, after losing the decision to Mike the Bounty Hunter, he said, I got to get back to religion. I got to get back to what was working for me. So with 2 wins in a row, now he feels he's back, and he's on his way to his 3rd win. He continues doing like he is doing now.
And we talked about the cruiser weight division, which is kind of transient. It is certainly a division in which Dwight Muhammad Qawi, if he concentrates at this weight, can possibly get his shot again.
In this division, in this cruiserweight division, and then perhaps move up to heavyweight. You know, you look at the heavyweight champion of the world right now, he's not 220 pounds like heavyweight champions used to be. He's 207 pounds.
The end of round number 6. And right now some work has to be done on the glove of Dwight Muhammad Qawi with just seconds remaining in this 6th round.
The tape has come off that left glove. As these fighters sweat, that sweat gets under the tape and it kind of pulls loose a little bit. And that is what has happened.
And we have just about 6 seconds to go in this 6th round.
Mike, come.
Nice deep breath.
Deep breaths.
Dwight Muhammad Qawi to be pitching the shutout through 6. He has been the aggressor.
And this is the Qawi style of young. He always fought this way. Put your head on your opponent's chest, the Joe Frazier style, get right in his face and work.
Makes it easy.
Now, he was talking before the fight that he was tinkering a little bit about his style. He thought he was now more of a thinking man fighter, and was even figuring that he might be boxing a little more. Well, you think that's a mistake for him?
Well, under new management, he says he might try to change it a little bit, try to stand back a little bit more. But when you're 5'7.5" in the cruiserweight division, you can't stand back and let your opponents steal with long left jabs. You've got to get right on their chest. And that's the way that he's been most successful in his career. A busy style, a forcing style, aggressive.
The average rounds for these 2 fighters. And you would have thought it would be the other way around. Qawi ended his fights earlier than Salerno. Salerno built up quite a few early round knockouts in his first few years in the ring.
Well, 11 of his 27 KOs have been in the first 3 rounds for James Salerno. Whereas Qawi only had 7 of his 20 KOs in the first 3.
But you got to remember, Qawi had 11 world title fights, many of them going the distance, 2 of them going 15 rounds, so they're all factored into the equation. It's round number 7. It is scheduled for 10, and James Salerno Looks like he has to come up with a knockout, which for James Salerno will be a task indeed.
Maybe he can talk Qawi out of this fight.
I better start talking.
Lose that mouthpiece first.
Halfway through the 7th round. Dwight Qawi, originally known as Dwight Braxton. Brother Tony, also a fighter. Turned pro at the age of 25. So he's been in the fight business for 13 years, one less than the 29-year-old Salerno. Salerno turned pro in May of '77. Qawi in April of '78. And in just his 18th fight, Qawi went up against champion Matthew Saad Muhammad and won the WBC light heavyweight championship. Salerno has never had a world championship fight. Right there in the top 5 in the rankings, but never could step in the ring for the world title. He wanted Qawi's title 5 years ago. He was trying desperately to get into the ring with Michael Spinks.
More of the tape coming loose from Qawi's left glove, and Qawi is nailing Salerno. Those hooks, they're effective because Salerno has no left jab. He has no extension on his punches. He's not getting the full advantage of his reach advantage.
Inside the final 10 seconds of the 7th.
Final 10 seconds. This is where you pour it on, you let it all hang out.
Well, if I told you one of these fighters is 38 years old and one is 29, who would you think would be fixed to which age?
Right now, James Salerno, I guarantee you, feels 38.
How would you grade Qawi? You think the guy has a shot?
Yes, I do. He's got the Qawi style of old that was so successful. And some things could happen in this cruiserweight division. Remember, we talked about what a transition division it is. If some things could happen, he could move right up there into the top 10 and into a title fight quite easily.
What does Dwight Muhammad Qawi not have that he had 5 years ago?
Well, the youth, and now is where it's really going to pay off. After this, the 8th round and on, we're going to see how he reacts now as compared to how he reacted earlier in this fight. One thing that you lose is your speed. Now, he's not going to have to worry about a lot of speed with James Salerno. Salerno is extremely slow. But that speed, as it gets later in the fight, becomes a bigger factor.
A little over a year ago, Qawi did have his shot at the cruiserweight title, going 12 rounds and losing to Robert Daniels for the WBA crown. Robert Daniels, who was supposed to be on our card tonight. Daniels, coming off the defeat at the hands of Bobby Ches to lose his title, was scheduled to fight Tony Willis, but Daniels dropped out of the fight and Phil Jackson is in. Jackson, the undefeated top 10 cruiserweight. Matter of fact, Daniels is here in the crowd tonight. He was claiming an injury, but coming off the Ches defeat, they may have thought otherwise about stepping in against a guy like Willis. Kind of nice after losing a championship to come back on the right foot and not be pressed too hard.
Well, he may be here looking for an opponent.
Right?
And he may be finding one with James Salerno.
Focusing in on Salerno. 50 seconds to go. We kind of figured with Salerno's style that this one would go the distance, and considering the fact in 52 fights and 10 defeats, Salerno has been stopped only once in his career by J.B. Williamson, that in the 3rd round back in 1984. But Qawi has really been piling on the leather and the points in this one. There's the time remaining in the 8th. I'm Al Albert, along with the champ, Sean O'Grady. We're in Miami for tonight's edition of Tuesday Night Fights. Qawi, and he's doing this from a distance. And there's the right. Salerno is a master if he's in trouble of tying up his opponent and hanging on and surviving. 8 down, 2 to go.
Feint and go, feint and go. All right. Give me a little up. All right. Give me a little up top when you feint, then go at him. All right. Make him react first and then get it. All right. How you feel?
You feel all right? You got 6 minutes in you? Huh? You got 6 minutes, huh? Say something. Yeah. Then let's go with it. Put pressure on the man for the 6 minutes. Let's get it over with, Dwight. This man don't want to fight with you.
In your nose, out your mouth.
Deep breaths, let's go to work. Take the last 2 rounds real big. Make the man know who he's with now. Mouthpiece, one.
It's in.
Come on. 6 minutes, let's go, Dwight.
Juan Arias brings the 2 fighters into the middle of the ring for the 9th round, and Dwight Muhammad Qawi goes right to the head of James Salerno. Right now, Qawi doesn't have a worry in the world. He has piled up the points. Sean, you have him winning the first 8 rounds, going up against a very light-hitting James Salerno.
Actually, I have him winning 10 of the first 8.
Yeah. These 2 fighters coming into this one have combined 95 fights and 628 rounds.
And they told Qawi, go out there and let him know who he's in with. And that is just what Dwight is doing. The first part of this round, a lot of pressure, a lot of punches. And Qawi, look at this attitude. Nice and loose. He's smiling in there. He's throwing combinations, punches and bunches.
Referee watching very closely.
Very close. And here's a point where your referee, you step in and you say, okay, that's enough is enough.
It's going nowhere.
Salerno's not in this stall. He's been out of it from round 1. It's silly to let this punishment go on.
Salerno.
This is where fighters really get hurt. And there comes a time in a guy's career where he has to say, I'm getting hurt. I can't be fighting anymore. That's what James Salerno should say to himself after this match. He's seriously going to get hurt. This is how boxers get in bad condition mentally. They become punchy. Stick around the game too long. They take unnecessary punishment.
I don't know with James, though, if it was necessarily the fact that he was in boxing, that he was punchy. So James Salerno certainly learning that he has not just slipped but fallen from the higher echelons of a division, and quite frankly should really consider full-time in the rap world. And as we say that, a little flurry by James Salerno. Inside 40 seconds.
But a nothing flurry. He's wishing he were in the rap world right now. This is the School of Hard Knocks.
Which I think was the title of his rap, wasn't it?
It is really sad when a fighter has reached the end of his trail, especially when a fighter is only 29 years old. It's sad because boxers put everything into this game called boxing. They quit their jobs. They turn their backs on their families to be boxers. They have nowhere else to go many times.
Well, it's even sadder when he reaches the end of the trail and doesn't know it.
The first part of this round, Qawi came out and established control. They told him go out there and show him what you got, let him know who he's in with. Salerno knew in the first part of this round this was going to be a rough one. This is the 9th round. And Qawi still looks as fresh as he did in the opening round.
Just stay off of the ropes, please. Okay. You win this round, you get a good chance of winning the fight. But you can't do it stand on the ropes. That's the only time you catch is when you're on the ropes. Throw punches and stay off the ropes. That's all. Two things. Throw a lot of punches, mainly to the belly, and stay off the ropes. Can you do that?
I have to.
Okay, here. It's the last round. 3 minutes. Stay off the ropes.
And this is the top of the list in the cruiserweight division, and these are some of the names that Dwight Muhammad Qawi looking very closely at. And you would think off of this performance, he may have something there.
Well, you know, I talked about how good Qawi looked, how he looks like the Qawi of the 80s, how he's turned back the clocks a little bit. But you got to consider what he's in with, too. I mean, James Salerno, this is a shell of a fighter in James Salerno. Not really the James Salerno that he was, a good prospect at 18 years old. A young man that everybody had high hopes for. This is a 29-year-old washed up James Salerno. He's been used and abused.
This is the 10th round. It's number 20 for Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
And I sense a big finish coming from Qawi. He's taking it easy the first part of the round. The judge is going to remember the last part of the round more vividly than he will the first part. And in every fight, you want to try to finish strong.
No punch, no punch.
Oh, the punishing blows from Qawi.
Stay off the ropes, says Floyd Patterson to Salerno, and he remembered that lesson, but may not have helped in this instance.
And what a sad time for a fighter. At the end of his career, you're so confused. Sometimes you don't know how to get your opponent off of you. What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your career?
Inside the final minute of the fight. An invigorated Dwight Muhammad Qawi. Feeling very confident in himself at the age of 38. Hoping to become the George Foreman of the cruiserweight division in regaining the title. Although he did hold the cruiserweight title 6 years ago. Won the light heavyweight division 10 years ago. "20 seconds left in the 10th, and James Salerno, as usual, has been able to survive to hear the final bell.
Weathered the storm, but again, just come in second place.
But tonight it was a distant second.
Boom.
And Qawi ends with a flurry.
And look at Salerno raise his hand after the fight.
Hopefully just waving goodbye to the ring. All right, Dwight Muhammad Qawi looks to be on his way to his 35th victory, his third in a row since being out of the ring for 1 year, and has to feel happy about his chances of down the road getting another title shot. Tuesday night fights on USA. Our first bout is completed. It goes the distance. Dwight Qawi pounding away on James Salerno through 10 rounds.
And here is some more of that pounding. Qawi with the hooks, able to move on the inside, able to throw his punches at will, able to command with heavy shots like that. Earlier he was downstairs on the body. Late he came upstairs and scored heavily.
And now we are ready for the decision. The suspense not actually mounting on this one. Let's just get the official word from Alan Tour.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. And the scores are as follows. Judge Al Walensky scores 89-83. Judge Rick Bays scores the bout 190.
Shutout.
And Judge Stu Winston scores the bout 98-92 for the winner by unanimous decision, Dwight Qawi.
Dwight Qawi looking pensive, almost concerned. Actually, one judge had it to shutout, and it looked more like they were in agreement with you. Did you have the shutout?
I did. Dwight Muhammad Qawi every round. He was the aggressor, put more pressure on Salerno, and he landed the bigger shots.
So Qawi goes to 25-8-1, and James Salerno falls to 41-11-1. And Qawi looking at the age of 38 to perhaps some